I know what you guys are looking for, and I can only tell you that we're in the wrong studio to do that with. So I had to improvise.
It is okay.
I love that intro though, man. We got the bat signal,
Yeah,
Batman throwing the switch, our dogs come up there. That's my fault.
it's all right.
We had to switch over. We are back using a system that I thought we would never use, but you know what? It works the best for us. And when you got something that works really well, you have to pay the price for it. And we're paying the price for it. So we're going to use it a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dog Show. I am your host. Along with me are my co-hosts, Detective Garrett, the main lead of our show, Detective Marshall, the borrowed detective from Metropolis, who is now a Gothamite, and Jason Red Copen. Jason also does his own thing as the writer, director, and star of the Red Hood series on YouTube. Please check that out. We got Taco Cat chiming in. Hey, Taco Cat. Good to see you there, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to start today. We're not going to, go into the whole thing about what happened and why and all this. Walmart has started pulling the McFarlane line from Walmart. They've been pulling it because they don't make enough money now with da-da-da-da-da. Okay. Now, being in a secondhand store or a store that dabbles in these figures, we saw a decrease in certain figures. So we have like tons of certain figures there. And then, of course, the rare ones that keep popping in. Even though Walmart's not buying these figures, they're definitely putting them out on their website because there's a pre-order Batman Year One and Commissioner Gordon. Have any of you guys seen that yet?
Yep. I have not.
I have not seen it either.
Nah.
Okay, let me see if I can pull this up real quick.
Yeah, so here's where I'm confused. McFarlane is such a huge action figure name. Yeah. And I know we're not going to get into why, the how, when, where, all that good stuff. But that being said, we're getting all these new figures coming out, and one of the biggest retailers in the world is pulling it off the shelves. That's all I'm going to say is, interesting.
Well, I'm not sure if y'all heard about this, but there was a truck full of Supergirls, and somebody actually stole the truck while it was on its way over here.
No way.
So it's very weird. Nobody really knows how or why, but yeah. So now that Supergirl is going to be impossible to get, apparently. So yeah,
definitely believe that.
Yeah. I mean, well, Supergirl's always been hard to get, but that's
more ways
than
one.
I'm in awe at some of this stuff because I never thought that I've learned a lot being at Yester Toys. I mean, I've got people coming in talking, did you notice that the face mold on this character is so and so and so? And I'm looking at them like, is it still cool? Yeah, always. And that. Didn't buy it, dude. I can't tell you. I'm not that deep into it. I buy a character because I like it, or somebody gifted me something, and now I'm stuck on this eternal loop of buying Black Adam. I mean, just buying figures.
Yeah.
No, Big L gifted me a nice Black Adam statue, and I'm thumbing through, and on my feed pops up another Black Adam with the robe. And to this day, I love that movie. I've always been a fan. Well, I have not always been a fan of The Rock, but when he turned People's Champ, I was a fan since then. And when he did Black Adam, that famous line was, the hierarchy in the DC universe is about to change. Love that. because that was just the thing. And we will never get to see Black Adam square off against Superman, because there's no way in hell that Shazam could come nowhere close to taking on Black Adam. There's just none.
Let's just look at it this way. Since, James Gunn is rebooting the universe, maybe we will get something better than that last Shazam movie, because that was horrible.
Yeah. That's kind of like the bat nipples. We don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was sitting in that theater and, I'm like, wait a minute. Did bat cheeks just come across my screen? And then, like I said, here come the nipples. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh God. We were all three of us were sitting there. We're like, what the hell is this?
God.
Bat nipples come stepping out of the car. Come on.
It's terrible.
Well, they wanted to make it for kids, because they started. This is the same time. Well, they did the whole in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. No, Temple of Doom. No, not Temple of Doom. Indiana Jones and the thing with the rocks. You remember the rocks?
Oh, Crystal Skulls.
Crystal Skull.
No. The long rock.
Oh, you're talking about Indiana Jones. What was that one called?
That's sad.
Yeah, the kids were all being taken from that place.
Right? So we know the movie, but we didn't take the presence of mind to save the movie's name.
Yeah.
Right? That's how bad this movie is. But when he pulled the heart out and kids were, oh, this is too violent. And I'm like, you whiny little bitches. What is wrong with you? It is a movie. It's Indiana Jones. Give me a break.
You're talking about Temple of Doom?
Is it Temple of Doom?
Yeah, I just watched that one on TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
When the creepy guys ripped the heart out of that one guy.
Yeah.
Short rounds in it. Yeah. That's Temple of Doom.
Okay, so we get the NC-13 rating, and then they go, well, Batman was a little too violent. I watched this interview. Hey, Rob, what's going on, brother? I'm watching this interview, and the kids are like going, we need a more friendly. It's marketed to kids, but it's not kid friendly. They're talking about the Penguin movie. So now they switch gears, and this is when we get, we get Val Kilmer,
Val Kilmer wasn't as bad though.
No, Val Kilmer. Look, I will take Val Kilmer all day, every day. Up until I see his bat cheeks up on the screen when he turns around, I'm like,
hey,
Yeah, I didn't like the part he said I'll get takeout. That to me was ridiculous.
Which I thought was cool, and all my friends are like, "Come on, man!" I'm like, "Hey, it's a movie. Let it go. Just let it go. It's a movie." I didn't care. It looked cool as shit. Okay, I didn't care. So I get that, but now they're doing this stuff now where it's going to be harder and harder to find these action figures, and we're going to have to pay through the nose for them. So my suggestion to most of you guys is, if you see it on sale and you want it and you got the money, you need to grab it.
Yep.
You need to grab it now, and if you think you're going to trade it in and get it's worth so and so now, well, yeah, but no one's going to buy. That's the problem now with this whole thing. No one's going to be buying these things at these crazy prices. So be mindful of that, because I see a good amount of people, and this Saturday it's going to scare the hell out of me because I'm working it. And I know there's going to be tons of people in that store. The weather will probably be really nice. It'll be warm, and then I have the door open. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you have to be mindful of these things, guys. That these prices are starting to hit. If you see it on sale, because Amazon loves to do that stupid thing where they sell that. You know what? It's on sale, but only for these few hours.
Yep.
Only for this couple of days. You can get
my
it
Lord,
for $15. Yeah, right. It was
to be honest with you, look, that's how you got the Black Adam, because that same figure, sells for a lot right now.
Yeah.
And I caught it that one time on sale, and I looked at Ab and said, "Hey, I'm spending such and such on Calibus," and she was like, "Okay," because
that's why I bought the other one. It was $39.99. I got it for $21, and I'm like,
Whoa.
Okay. You know what I mean? Click, sold. It was done. You know, and because I love that look.
And same
And
thing
now,
with Detective Mark's Superman picture. Saw it. I'm like, hey, I'm buying this from Mark. I don't get to the point where I'm like, hey, can I buy this? I'm like, hey, I'm buying this. Okay. Because if it's on sale, I mean, not that I don't want to spend money on you guys, but if I catch it on sale, as much as I love both of you as brothers, I don't have a fat wallet.
I understand.
Look, I feel like I'm a woman. You know, is it on sale? Are we getting it?
But see, as a cosplayer, you have to be mindful of that too. Like,
so that leads me into a question. Now that we have the Red Hood here. When you do the Red Hood, web series and the cosplay inside, and you've got to think it in because you're the creator, you're the writer, you're the director, you're the star. What is it about the budget that you have to keep mindful of? Like, how do you figure all that in? Like with the shooting locations, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. What's your mindset behind all that? I mean, do you have an infinite amount of money or what?
I wish. No, so our pilot movie for season 1, we raised $1,000 for, and that was strictly just for costumes and props. That was it. So all the filming locations are free, and obviously we can't pay people because of legal reasons. And so we're planning out season 2. I try to find new locations and use some of the same old ones that were free, found new ones that were free. We do a lot of guerrilla filmmaking, so sometimes we don't get permission and we just do it until they kick us out. And so most of the budget we raise is just actually for costumes. And I try and ballpark a general amount per character to then figure out, well, if this is a character we had in season 1, we already have their costume, that's great. But if it's a new character like Riddler or Scarecrow, we still have to get their stuff. And so I have to ballpark, well, how much can we, properly spend on just the one character? And mainly it's like what y'all are saying. I look for sales on Amazon. And I literally just got the Riddler's sunglasses that are a replica of the ones he had in the Arkham games. And those were on sale for a limited time for only $10. And I was like, I'm doing it right now. So yeah, that's pretty much what we do.
So as we can tell, even, something as popular as a web series that, the Red Hood is, you have to be mindful of budgets. Just like with any company, any business, and that's, I think, the one thing that people fail to understand when you're cosplaying or you're doing a web series or you're doing a podcast like this, because the fees to do StreamYard comes out of Detective Rand's pocket. It stuff you pay for out of pocket. So, can we get any more into season 2? Is there anything you want to share that maybe you didn't share last episode?
So it's funny you mentioned that. I was working on something. It is not edited yet, but I was really trying to have it be done for tonight's episode, but it will be ready for the next time we go live. I promise. It's a really funny scene. Okay, good. It's a really funny scene with me and Deadshot and Braun Steiger. That's all I can say. And I can say Will Smith. That's it.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Yep, y'all know.
Oh shit! All right, see, Red, you're like a dealer, man. You give me just a little
I know.
Excited, and then it's like, all right, well, now I'm gonna hold it for 2 more weeks, and y'all just gonna have to wait. And I'm sitting here. All right, what am I getting? What am I getting? Dude, I'm really excited to see what comes out of season 2. I was finally able to really get caught up on season 1 and a web series. Guys, if y'all have not checked out the Red Hood web series that Mr. Jason Copen has put together, if you're a Batman, if you're a DC fan, if you're a comic book fan, you are doing yourself a disservice by not checking it out. It is very well put together. I got to say, you said you spoke something about being, guerrilla, production or whatever. You can't tell it. You really can't tell it's sometimes guerrilla production because of the mindset that you put into it, the way that you do things. So JEC Productions here. The things that you do to make it believable is absolutely insane. I love the way The characters are written. I love the way the story goes. It's very easy to follow. A lot of times
That's
with
good.
web series, and Mark, I know you've said this before. Sometimes certain series, they're hard to follow because you don't know where it's going. You know where this series is going, even with the little snippet you gave us last time of kind of the trailer snippet that we got. We already know where the series is going. Like we kind of can tell what's going to happen, and any great production person will tell you if you can give enough to set the scene and let the audience know this is what we're shooting for, it gets them excited. And I gotta say, I am excited to see what comes next. I know Detective Rand and myself, we talk about it. We're like, when's it coming? What are we going to get to do? It's one of these things. What can you? I know you said we're going to get Joker. We're going to get Deadshot. Obviously, there's other things that we're not going to divulge. Some people have been invited to go. What can people expect that they don't normally see in a web series for season 2?
Yeah. That's a very tough question. Thank you for that.
You know me, I'm going to hit you hard with the tough ones, man.
Yeah, you are. Hey, Cal, you want to help me with this? You were at the table read. Can you think of something?
The table read. Look, the table read alone, and again, we've been invited back to his next table read. So
which will be for Gotham Knights. So y'all have to be there for that one.
I am going to stress it that I'm going to do my damn best to be there. I swear, dude, because it's for Gotham Knights. You know what the boy is bringing, first of all.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I'm bringing the suit. I'm bringing the mask. And I'm bringing the cloak.
Oh, yes. You have to.
I was sitting there. I had the earpiece in. I got the Batman soundtrack playing. And I'm sitting there. And then at one point, I was sitting there like this because I'm absorbing all of this. And that's when I was like, no, you need the music. You need the music. You're missing the music to this. And then at the end of it, at the whole end of it, because I was Mark, I got to go back in there. They're close to the end. I got to go. And when it ended, he ended on such a way. I'm like, okay, he's going to do this thing. I know he's going to do this thing, and he didn't do the thing. And I'm like, oh my God, he actually did it. And I'm like, oh, it hits hard. It hits hard, and I was just like, oh my God, it was such an amazing thing. To have all these actors and these people coming from wherever they came from just to sit in on a production, what I mean? That wasn't, you're not getting paid. This is out of your own personal time, and they're doing it for the love of the characters. And the actors were talking to me, hey, what part did you sign up? Oh, I said, I'm actually here. I felt like I'm Lois Lane. I'm actually here to to report on all of you. So come on, tell me what's the skinny? You know what I mean? It was so surreal just to be in that setting and to hear these people, the actresses. I'm telling you, I was impressed with the Riddler's wife. Well, the Riddler's wife, and the girl the woman that played Selena Kyle.
Huntress.
They had this thing, but everybody else brought some type of flavor that made you so interested in their character. And sometimes they only had 1 or 2 lines here, but then they had, when they delivered their lines, they were like just driving them home. And it was just like, bam, 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 bam. So any chance that I get to, of course, shout out this series is because I have a love for the series. Don't get me wrong. Me and Red are great friends, but this series is something that, like you said, Al, when we're sitting there, we can, hey, you want to throw that in? Yeah, let's throw that in and watch this a little bit. It's great, and it's, as a DC fan and everybody screaming Marvel this, Marvel that. Okay.
As I make a Daredevil cosplay, ignore me.
Well, look, man, dude, I do what the Phantom Fridays, and I'm in Marvel shirts now. You know, I'm like, hey, blah, 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 blah. I can't wait to actually start, kind of premiering more of my stuff as I start getting a little bit long, because now, Jinky was like, you need to do a Black Adam costume. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, you need to do that, but you need it with the cloak. You can do this. You've already got the head. I was like, to see that's funny, because now that's a bald joke. She goes, no, but you can do it. You can do it. So I'm set with these two cosplays things. Of course, first is always going to be, I've always wanted to do the Azrael Arkham Knight Azrael. I just thought Michael Lane was just, the shit to do. So I want to do that one. And then, of course, I'll probably go ahead and do the Black Adam one, down the road anyway. But
you doing that because your wife asked you to do it, or because you wanted to do it?
Well, I'm doing it now because I'm collecting all this Black Adam stuff. Let's do this. Let's turn that over there. You see that corner?
Oh, I see.
See this corner? Look at that.
That's crazy.
I've actually even got the one with the ears. Check this guy out.
Oh, wow.
You got the one with the ears on him.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I have to move my
all I want to do is
Beyond Batmobile.
I want to see him squeezing all that spandex. Is what I want to see.
There's a way you can tuck that away and
I know
and roll it around a little bit.
Yes, sir.
So, as a bigger cosplayer,
yes,
I've always liked things like Klingons and stuff like that, because you can get away with being a bigger whatchamacallit. But there was something that a guest that we just had on the show, your show, the Echo Chamber.
Yeah.
She said, it doesn't matter how big you are when you put on your cosplay. And a lot of the cosplayers say that. I was looking at some of the stuff from the 757 Blurs. From their stuff, there's a lot of bigger cosplay fans, and I love that. I personally would never do it to something like Batman, you know what I mean? But when I see a bigger Wonder Woman or something like that, I find that attractive.
You
know what I mean? I'm like, you go, girl. If you can pull that off,
yes.
and and you can own it, you do that. As for me, I think I have that reverence for Batman to the point of, I need him to be Batman. You know what I mean? I need to see it. I couldn't personally do it. I need to see it. Now, if I got me a foam suit or whatever, I'd probably do it. But since I'm not that attached at the hip to Black Adam,
right?
You know what I mean?
We were at GalaxyCon that year, and there was a young lady walking around, full-figured young lady wearing a Supergirl cosplay. Had the long blonde hair, and I'm telling you, I was enamored. I was like, holy crap. I mean, she made it look really good. And I was like, it's not a fetish type thing. No, it was just the cosplay itself looked good. It fit her
confident when she wore it.
She was that was the thing. That's what made it so attractive to me. And she was so confident, so ready to take pictures with people. She would get in her pose. She was confident, and I loved that. I think we got a picture of her at the table or something other when she walked by. I mean, she was great. Mark, did you see her while you walked around? Did you happen to catch a picture of her?
I don't think I did, because I was trying to remember that person. This year at GalaxyCon, I did see some full-figured people in cosplay, and everybody, just like you said, as long as they have that confidence about themselves, they were fantastic. You know what I mean? So I know I don't cosplay in the sense that everybody else cosplay, but I do my thing.
He knows how he threw that out there, so he doesn't have to cosplay. I do my thing.
Make him a shirt. We're going to have to make him an NC chapter shirt or NC Geek Fandoms NC shirt that says, "This is my cosplay."
Probably so. I mean, but yeah, I sported my DC reviewer shirt. I still wear. I think I had on my 757 shirt. So I do that, and then I do try to market everything that I do, and I talk to people everywhere I go. So that's the one thing I get that. I get the cosplay, and then I'll discuss it with them, and that's what they get that inspiration from. Just like Jason, yours sounds fantastic. What you're going to be doing with the Daredevil. I like the Red Hood anyway, but can't wait to see your Daredevil when that comes out.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and you kind of look like him too. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
We get you some fuzz up here.
Yeah.
Give this about 2 days. It'll show up.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Matt
You
Murdock.
look a lot like him, man.
That's exactly
I'm
why I
telling you,
chose to do it.
I mean, the Kingpin was at GalaxyCon last, I believe, wasn't he?
Yes,
Mark?
yes.
Yeah.
I miss
This is
seeing
an
him.
And
No,
see,
not
I'm
good.
so pissed off because there's a couple figures at Yester Toys, and I would love, to get him to sign it. Again, if it gets signed, it ain't going nowhere. I'm not trying to sell it. I want that, to have that piece of history, because season 1 went out with a huge bang. I am such a fan of that. I love the street level heroes. Although, Ben Affleck's version of Daredevil, I do like that. I like that the echolocation, he had a little bit more power. It gave him more of an agility and all that other stuff, versus the new Daredevil, who seems to just be able to hear stuff and see everything as a wall of flame. Okay, that's cool and all, but he does get beat up an awful lot. I mean, by characters that just, to me, kind of like the animated Batman with the Batman and Robin. You remember, we started off with Batman and Batman and Robin, or something like that, Son of Batman or something like that. That Batman got beat up a little bit too much for me. I didn't like that. I thought that street level thugs, he came up against street level thugs, he whipped their butt. But then when a major villain came along, it seemed like he was having trouble keeping up. And the director said, I wanted my Batman not to be that tough. I wanted him, and I'm like, by definition, Batman is the toughest son of, in the DC universe. If you got, it didn't make any sense. So I'm watching him fight and everything else, and I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love the way he does that. But then when the Punisher came on, sort of like the Red Hood. It's something about somebody that's coming in here like, you know what? Guess what? Bang, bang, kiss, kiss. You're dead.
Yeah.
I'm not messing with you anymore. I that attitude I like. Now, don't get me wrong, Mark. There's a time to be, hey, we can be better. We can aspire to be better. But every now and then,
love peace and hair grease type thing. Yeah.
I need that thing
Superman
kiss,
is,
kiss.
that's what I like about Superman. Just because he can do something doesn't mean he's always going to do something. I love that thought about what he does, because like Batman said, and why he's afraid of Superman, he could, if he wanted to, destroy the world, but he doesn't. He doesn't because he does, because he's lived here long enough that he is the most human character that you ever get in DC. And that's what I love about Superman. That's why I'm always going to be a Superman fan.
It reminds me of that, that Christopher Reeves, was it Superman 3, where he's in the bar with the peanuts and he's picking them like bullets. You know what I mean? That's just a dangerous dude. But we have this whole world, and you started it with our group cosplay, Court of Owls.
Yeah.
Now, did you have an idea of what we were trying to do for THC? Because remind you now, we have a table for Yester Toys there.
Yeah.
And now we're going to have the NC chapter rocking THC.
Yep.
What kind of are we keeping with it? That tradition of, and now of course we got Red there with us. So what are we doing another? Are we,
Well,
you know?
we definitely want to keep it along the, so that everyone can do it and keep it simple. We definitely want to keep it, in the genre of the horror kind of mindset. So I will leave it to this. We can stick with Court of Owls and amp it up a bit if we want, especially with the Red Hood being there and bring some people in. That side of things.
I kind of like that because I wanted to be in a suit with my mask.
We can do
You
that.
know what I mean? I wanted to look cool.
Y'all can't be as cool as me.
Look,
Oh,
you and Vonda and Elle and Abby, you guys look the best out of all of us there. I'm sitting there going, damn.
Big Al looks
I gotta
the best,
amp my,
though,
I gotta
with
do
the-
yeah.
well,
We gotta.
yeah.
I think we should let's have a redo over. I'd like to do the Court of Owls again because I want to be in my suit. I want to be like Morris Day at a time. I want to look good. I want to look good. You know what I mean?
We can do Court of
No,
Owls.
I love yours
We can,
completely. Everything you had on that day was fantastic, Big Al.
it was warm.
I know.
It was warm. No, I had a great time. Definitely having the cloak on. Just doing the whole Grand Owl from, the Court of Owls book, the graphic novel, and pulling that character off the page and bringing it to life, in my vision of what the Grand Owl was. And of course, my lovely bride right next to me in her beautiful, beautiful red dress or red gown, I would say. To me, she knocked my socks off. When she stepped out into the scene with her high heels on and that red dress, and then she pulled the mask down, and it was ever so slightly that she kind of just slid it down. Then I'm like, oh my God, seeing that and that, kind of those two characters coming to life out of the vision that we had talked about for 6 months.
Yeah.
Of bringing that together. And not that I wouldn't like to try to do something else as a group. The Court of Owls is such an iconic scared fandom, in the Gotham series. Anybody that you follows, a web series or follows, the comic books, the any stuff, the Court of Owls is what they told ghost stories about, to the Gotham kids. If you don't do what do what you're told, the Talon's going to come and take your head. So for me, having that scare factor with the Court of Owls, and then our own, I was just going to
Talon.
Talon, having our own Talon who looked damn good, by the way.
Rob throws, man, that's our MVP for both groups.
Yes, 100%.
And even with the former, Rob always with just everyday items, and then has, like Abby, the repair kit. You know what I mean? Because 9 times out of 10, and it never fails when I go to a convention, half my costume falls apart. I don't know what happens between transporting it, putting it in a car, getting there, and then suiting up. Something falls off. Something does that, because that's what messed up my Court of Owls. I went and thought I had the jacket, but it was my son's ROTC jacket. And I'm like, well, where the hell's my suit jacket at? It's gone. So now I don't have it. So then I had to improvise putting my thing together. And I was really kind of, upset about that. And then, of course, I was upset my batarang got broke. But, I had to swallow that a little bit. But anyway, I really thought that between Rob and you four, it was just, you know what I mean? You took something and you made it ours. And that's why I said you started that kickoff. And then after that moment, I was like, I'm doing the night. I'm going to do Azrael. from that point, that was a year ago.
Right.
From that point on, I was like, I'm gonna do it. And then I meet up with Jason, and Jason's like, yeah, do it. You know, he's like the emperor over there. Do it. Get it done. Do it.
Well,
I actually do that impression.
do it.
Come on.
No. I can't do it on command. I'm sorry.
I will say, Jason, you are cordially invited to join us as a group cosplay as the Red Hood, should you choose to do so.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
It would be phenomenal to have you, the Grand Owl facing off in kind of a face-off with the Red Hood. I think that would be a fantastic photo op in front of the THC logo.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
That game. That's what happened in the game, man. I was like, oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I would think that'd be great. Have the Bronze Tiger there if you wanted to show up. And even the Riddler, that would be fantastic. Overall, I can tell you, we as a group, Cosmic Portal, Geek Fandoms NC, and of course, our friends over at 757 Geek Fandoms, we are excited about everything that is coming out of your head, basically. The stuff that comes out of your head that is you're bringing to fruition. All I can say is whatever we can do to back you, to support you, to make it a success, we'll do so. And when you become famous and you are a success, do not forget us little guys, little guys who help hold you up, and on the thing, whatever. So if we could just have a small taste of the pie is all I'm saying. I don't even want to slice that taste.
Yeah, it's drug dealing at this point. That's what you said.
You do the same thing that Detective Marshall does with his cheesecakes. He gives you a small taste of a small cheesecake.
Oh my god!
And then he leaves you wanting more. And you look for one on your birthday, and then it doesn't show up, and then you
so sorry about that one.
You look.
That's funny.
That look, we had what was it was Convivial, right?
Yeah.
Our first Convivial. Mark gives Jinky a cheesecake. Now I bite into this cheesecake, and unfortunately, my two grandsons are there, and my daughter and my son-in-law and my wife. And I take a bite of this cheesecake, and I'm just like, oh, it's thick. It's just like
dangerous.
And I'm like, okay. I said, I gotta go. Well, can we have a piece? Against better judgment, I said yes. I got back to that room later that day. That shit was gone.
You only got the one little bite.
That one little bite. They ate mine. That's how bad this thing was. And then Mark comes over and he hands me a pound cake. Now, with strict instructions that it was for Jinky, but I was like, no, she doesn't need this. This is bad for her.
Well, I told you just to share, but don't. I mean, she didn't eat the whole cake.
She's going to watch this broadcast.
Let me tell you.
Look, there's like a slice left, and she hid it over behind the eggs.
Did she hide it like she hid? Did she hid those cookies that time?
Yeah, I'm just like, between
Jason,
you two are killing me
okay?
because
my wife does not like cheesecake. She despises cheesecake. She will eat Mark's cheesecake. She will fight a bitch for Mark's cheesecake.
I know, right?
She will fight a bitch. I mean, straight up.
Dude, Mark be throwing down when it comes to that stuff, man. And then, of course, when him and Elle start cooking and they're bringing stuff and da-da-da-da, I don't eat anything else. And if you put Ab in there, I'm going to that little L shape of these two, and then her, and then I got my plate and I'm good. So it's always it's always been a great pleasure to do all that other stuff with them, especially when it comes down to the food. Now, this year at THC, my wife and I are making lumpia. Well, she's making the lumpia. I'm buying all the stuff for it. And then I got to buy, she said she wanted chicken adobo and pancit. So we're going to have all that in the room with some alcohol, and we're gonna enjoy ourselves at this convention.
Oh, we're gonna have a few things we're bringing too. So don't worry, we're gonna throw down.
I mean, because the convention, these conventions, you know, it's it's my 55th birthday. Well, it had already passed, but we're going to be celebrating my 55th birthday, Jinky's birthday, Big L and Abby's anniversary, and you have boom. Look at that. Look at that. We got a Snyder fan. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, Hey,
yes, sir.
Let me get a light over here. I'm terribly sorry that I'm late, guys. I'm super sorry.
Oh, it's
right.
you
We'll see you later.
know how it is. It's fine. That's awful. You know, did y'all just see what just happened?
What just happened?
One of my comics just fell off the wall.
Was it Azazel? Because I'm just
No.
Azrael. I keep saying Azazel.
You're good. I'll get that later.
That's wild.
Oh man, at least it's not the one that's signed. I'll say that because that would piss me off. Anyways.
That would be something.
So,
hey everybody.
Introduce your friend.
Hey man, what's up? Hey everyone, this is Quentin. He plays Detective Michael Lane in my Record series.
Yep. I didn't realize we were using our characters. Can I change it now? Shoot.
Yeah, you can still change it. Go ahead.
You're good.
Get in there.
Hang on, I got you. But yep, happy to be here, guys. Truly.
Well, we're definitely happy to have you. If you haven't had a chance to meet me, I am Big L, better known as Detective Garrett.
Okay.
Detective Rain and myself kind of started this series about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So we were looking at doing something in the Gotham verse that wasn't, you know, the quintessential Arkham Knights or any of that kind of stuff. So we came up with the Detectives of Gotham, the dog show. And we started doing the, you know, opening the files and stuff. And then of course, Detective Rain says, "Hey man, you gotta check out this Red Hood web series." And I'm like, "All right, let's see what it's about," you know, because I've never been impressed with web series before. I gotta be honest with you; they've always been kind of whatever.
Okay.
This one is like, holy shit! It's like, damn, this is really put together very well.
Right.
Characters are done very well. It's very thought out. Everything. So I was like, look, we gotta do some shows. We gotta really pump this up because you know, we were talking in another thing we did a while ago on my podcast, the Echo Chamber.
Okay.
We love to get on the grassroots of stuff.
All right.
And to show things, you know, when they're starting out and bring them to fruition. So talk a little bit about your character and what brought you to the web series and why you like doing it.
Me? Oh,
yeah, you. I'm
okay.
talking to you.
They've already interviewed me like 1,000 times, Quentin.
All right, fair. Okay, so I had saw a notification on Backstage, and I'm a big DC fan, as you can see.
You're surrounded by DC fans.
I'm rocking a Green Lantern ring. I wear this junk religiously, but I saw the ad, and I remember I applied for every dude that was up there. I was like, come on, give me something.
You really
did. Give me something. And I'll never forget, he hits me up and was like, "We want you for Mobster number 4." And I was like, I said, okay. I mean, I guess, yeah. But I didn't hear anything for a little bit afterwards. So I was like, okay. And then I had deactivated my Backstage. But his message came through asking for me to audition for Michael Lane. And I was like, okay. And I looked up the character, like, because I'm familiar with the character, Azrael, but not much. And I looked into him and I read up on him before doing the audition. And I was like, okay, it sounds like an interesting character. Like, I mean, it's pretty, he's got a good story.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I think I could do this. I like playing characters that's a little bit complicated and complex in a way. And most thing that I kept reading was that his character was like supposed to have been a possible replacement for Bruce, and that really caught me. I was just like, really? I didn't even know about this. And I'm reading. I was just like, all right, this man was supposed to be like designed to try to be the next Batman, but all this stuff was in the way. I was like, okay, that's interesting. I like it. I'm in. And I did my audition, and I'm super, super like nervous as I'm doing the audition. I was like, I hope it was all right. And you loved it.
I could not
And
tell.
thank you. I was like,
course.
yeah, let's see. I was like, all right, let's try this. I did it a couple times, and I remember because I wear glasses naturally, and I wasn't sure if he wanted with or without glasses. And I remember I took them off in the middle of the interview, and I was like, cool, whichever one works. And he got back to me almost immediately, and he loved it. And I remember I was just like, okay, so this is my first superhero like that I've ever portrayed. What comic should I read? Like, what's up? Like, what should I look into to get the performance that you want? And he gave me some good comics to go through. And I remember, I think one of them was Nightfall. I believe,
Mhm.
yeah, that was one. And I checked out a couple. I've been working lately, but I've checked out a couple, and I've just been afterwards. I looked up the show and took the time to watch it. I even watched this wasn't part of the Red Hood series, but you did a video called Superheroes, and I was like, okay, let's see what this is. And I watched it. I was like,
That was my
this is
first
actually-
thing.
I was like, this is actually pretty interesting. Like, even though it was a simple thing, it was simple, but it told a good story, and that's the thing that I like the most. Like, something that has a good story. So as I kept watching every bit of like when it was Batman the series and now Red Hood, and I'm just like, he's actually telling a pretty good story. And even I knew I was hooked when the character Cassandra came up, and I was like, oh, this is okay. And then when they hit him with the Sionis, I was like, once I realized I'm making faces as I'm watching, I was like, he's got me. Yeah, he's got me.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So like I said, happy to be here. I hope I answered your questions. I rambled at the end of it.
No, you're fine. Absolutely. The one thing that we like to point out is what brings you to basically to the table.
Right.
So obviously you're a DC fan.
Yep.
If you were to see my office, it is DC Batman all the way. I just recently was gifted my Val Kilmer
Yo.
Mr.
Nice.
Detective Rand gifted me this one, kind of near and dear to me right now. So
I bet.
kind of a special place over here at the moment until I can
Okay.
properly display it. But I've got a lot of stuff that I have is all DC related, and
Okay.
so what I want to know is what brings you to your fandom? Like, what really instilled your fandom into you, and why did you choose DC over Marvel or anything else?
Okay. So I grew up on DC as a kid. I used to watch mostly Batman Beyond. That was what really had me as a child. I really loved Batman Beyond. And then of course, Justice League Unlimited, and of course Batman the Animated Series. And it was really good stories. And one thing that I enjoyed the most is when it got dark in scenes, even in the kid shows, when it got dark, it's a superhero show. So, not everything is going to be, like making jokes or quips all the time. Sometimes it gets dark. And in the animated series, there'll be moments where Bruce is having these crises like that he's having mentally. And I find that compelling. Like when the superhero that everyone sees, like, oh, is he a man or monster? And occasionally he's a man in a cave that's just like, man, am I really making a difference? And I'm like, bro, you are. Like, you're the Batman. But even he still has the doubts of like, and something like that. Like DC has their moments when they're really good at tackling those type of topics.
Yes.
And it gets me every time. Even when there's moments where I was like, you know what, I think I'm done. I can't watch these DC properties. Something happens and it hooks. And then I'm like, all right, I'm still in. Let me keep watching. Like I was a big fan of the Zack Snyder universe. And people get on me all the time. Like I like Ben
Me
Affleck as
too.
Batman. I thought he was really good, and it showed
Yes,
a
sir.
darker side
He's
of
my
the
favorite.
character. That was my Batman right there. I thought he did a great job. And
Oh yeah.
even in the Flash movie, I did not care for the movie, but Ben had that scene like when he's talking to Barry, and I was like, best scene in the movie. I was like, yo,
Oh yeah.
he nailed it. He nailed it. And yeah, it's just stuff like that. And I love like I said, the Easter eggs with how like they'll make a nod to something. I posted on the group chat, not on the group chat, I'm sorry, on your YouTube page, when you had said what was it, Virgil Swan. I was like, from Smallville though? And I was like, something about that like really got to me. And DC is just near and dear to my heart. I love the stories that they tell and the Easter eggs that they do across the multiverse. I find it all fascinating. Like true.
100%.
Oh yeah.
For me, I'm DC all the way. People get me on, well, Marvel has the better movies or whatever. I'm like, okay, they've got a Mickey Mouse write stuff for them.
Yeah.
So
Their movies they're targeted towards kids. So yeah, that's what it is. And people don't know Marvel characters because they would be angry with the movies that are coming out, the way they watered down the characters in those movies. So when you say Marvel has better movies, they have better movies, but they don't have better characters because they know who they're marketing their movies to. But DC has more realistic movies for what you want to see, and that's what I don't think people are getting at, And then let's talk about DC's animated universe.
There you go.
Oh my God!
Yeah, there's nothing comparing to their animated universe,
dude.
I collect those movies more than anything,
Yo, man, I'm telling you, Batman Beyond. The show could come on right now, and I'm watching.
Oh, I'm the same way. And it's funny you mentioned Batman Beyond. I was just we had a guest over tonight for dinner, and they met our little bitty dog, Dana.
Okay.
And she's like, well, that's an interesting name for a dog. I'm like, yeah, it's Dana from Batman Beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like,
I knew it.
I was like, have you seen the Batman Beyond series? She says, no. And I was like, yeah. I said, Terry McGinnis's girlfriend is named Dana.
Mm-hmm.
So we named her after Dana. And she's like, that's really weird. That's cool, but it's
that's awesome.
You named it after a character. I was like, yeah. Come on. And then you mentioned Batman the Animated Series, near and dear to my heart.
Of course.
Kevin Conroy. However, I am in possession of a first edition Batman the Animated Series comic book.
Yo.
It is one of my prized possessions.
Okay.
It is in a glass case. It stays sealed. I paid a pretty penny for it. I'm not even going to divulge how much I paid for it. I thought I was stupid. But it is a first edition, first print, first. It's a Batman the Animated Series #1. That one stays put up. I don't bring it out. I don't put it at conventions.
I bet.
I took it to one convention and someone picked it up and I immediately snatched it out of her hand and said,
"You got to.
Do not touch this."
Right.
This is worth more than what you probably have in all of your bank accounts right now. So just set it down. I immediately went, put it in the van, locked it up. I said, "Nah, that never again."
Yeah, never again. Never again.
I have rambled enough. Detective Rand, Detective Marshall, any interview questions for Mr. Michael Lane today?
Let you go first, Detective Rand.
Oh, well, I just want you to know that it'll be there.
Okay.
It'll be there. Oh, believe me, we're not playing.
Oh, we're not playing at all.
So I've got just about everything set. I want my son-in-law to take my my tunic down the gun range.
Okay.
Pop some real holes in it. I want some real bullet holes in that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I want it. So when looking at the character, the tragedy of Michael Lane.
Right.
How was that when you discovered, basically of course the betrayal and
right.
How did you get that feeling, and then now you got to channel that?
I'm not gonna lie to you. It made me want the role more because I've done a lot. I've acted before, but I do like challenging roles, and I feel like roles like that you gotta act, and you gotta that's something that you gotta sell, and I'm like, I want that opportunity right there. This isn't actually a complex character, and he's gone through a lot. And to try to portray that, you need to bring your A game for that one. And I was like, I'm not about to back down from this. This is, I gotta do this. I gotta do this. And I've been trying to get into different things because number one, when I got the role, I was super hyped, and I just found out that I'm not gonna be the one in the suit. Not too long ago.
I'm so sorry. It's Detective Rand.
Yeah, and you got it. So look, before that, when he told me about the role, man, I'm telling you, I'm in here. I'm like, all right, I got me a stick. I said, all right, get the sword ready. Try to get some. Come on, let's do this. And I'm hyping myself up about it. And it was the post that he made, and your name was by the character. And I was like, either I'm fired or I missed something. So let me see something.
Whoa.
Right. So I was like, let me see something. And yeah, he told me. I was like, okay, it's cool. I was like, I still need to get this body right anyway.
No, believe me, that's one of the things. I'm walking around the store because I know I've got to do the sword things and everything else. But it was just that character, and then playing it in the game.
Right.
Because that's how I discovered him, and I'm like, that's not Azrael.
Right.
I'm like, is that dude black? I'm like, wait a minute. And so I went back, and that's when I discovered who he was. And I was like, well, damn. I looked on Facebook, and there wasn't an Azrael, Michael Lane Azrael. So I was like, whew. So now, and it's been up there, I don't know, 5-6 years now. I have the Azrael Michael Lane. And of course, every now and then I get some guy telling me, you know what, that's not Azrael. I'm like, yeah, it is. What I mean? I was like, it is. I said, it's a lot better than the Azrael we had. You know what I mean?
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
That's terrible.
Oh, yeah. Look, Nightfall aside, he was still Jean-Paul Vallée. The whole whining and then going ballistic because of the system and all this other stuff. I just, you know what I mean? I don't know if it was just that time period that the writers were writing it. That whole breaking of the bat. This is the first time that Batman actually loses. They say it now that he loses all the time to people. I've never seen it happen. Killer Croc came very close. He was the first to come very close. Never does it. Bane, a newcomer, breaks the bat. Now we have, you have this guy who's the avenging angel, and he's supposed to take over. And he gets so corrupted by what he's doing now that he's, back in his armor, but it's bat designed.
Right.
But don't get me wrong. I got him somewhere around here. But this is still my favorite version.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the suit of sorrows and everything. And you know what I mean? I love that whole night motif. But as you never figure out. I mean, at the end of John Paul's reign, I think they killed off the character, and then they tried to bring him back in the reboot, and we haven't heard anything from that in the new DC. But Batman starts over in September. Batman 1 starts in September.
Okay.
So here's a chance again to jump on that and see what happens, who they're going to bring back. But I think Michael Lane to me is a more interesting character. Gotham, he's a Gotham detective, gang unit, the whole nine, gets betrayed, figures out that he's being betrayed, and then he comes back and does his thing. You know, it's going to be awesome to see.
Hey, I will say that because like I know you're doing the stunts and moves and stuff. Hey man, if there's ever a scene where I have to like actually do it without the suit, man, I'm asking you to train me. I was like, all right, how do you do it? How do I like I gotta get that right.
Well, look, like, if they do the cut scene, I'll be more than happy. If you go fit the suit, I'll be more than happy to let you take it on and do was it pull the Pedro Pascal, take the helmet, show your face for a little bit. Let me get the face in there. Let me just
right. I was like, and cut. All right, here you go, bro.
Yeah, man. I got no problem with that, man. You know what I mean? It's because it's for the love of the production. It's for the love of the character, and I'm just like ecstatic to get to meet you and talk to you and the next time we do another show because we hit the hour mark, I would love for you to come back. Of course, with Red, you know what I mean? We'll give you a little bit more notice this time so you can get your schedule set. And then
I'm so sorry for being here so late, man. I was like, I gotta go. Like seriously, I'm terribly sorry about that.
Well, look, just seeing that Zack Snyder shirt was good enough for me. I was like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I'm good with that.
It says soul.
So you know what I mean? But Detective Garrett, it's that time. We didn't hit the hour mark, sir.
Yeah, let's give it 5 more minutes if we could. I know Detective Marshall had one question, so let's make sure that we be fair to everyone. So, Detective Marshall, what's your question, sir?
Yeah, I was just going to ask. I know we've not seen Michael Lane in any other format besides the comic books, but have you ever thought how, besides what you're about to do, what other whatever the other medium would you like to see him used in besides the video games or, like we said, the comic book? And what you're about to do, is there anything else you would want to see him in, like maybe an animated movie or anything like that?
I definitely think, and I know the show is gone now, but I think this character would have been a great plot in Gotham because they were already tackling the GCPD and a lot of what made Gotham, that I think Michael Lane would have been a perfect story to tell in that one. And they did do the character as real with an original character. But now that I've actually know who Michael Lane is, I'm like, he should have been in here. And I think the character, I feel like, once again, now that I'm fully aware of him, there's moments in there where I was like, why didn't we get a Michael Lane like cameo or something, man? That could have been a throwaway line. Just Lane, get in here. It could have worked. And I feel like this character, especially when it comes to the GCPD, like we could use that. And if they're going to do something in the long run, I think they should do it how the Arkham City games where he's popping up in the back at random moments. We could they could tease that and stuff. And like, what is it when DC did the animated movies? I forgot what they called, but they had like a slew of movies that ended with like Apocalypse War. They could have those movies, if they were gonna have Azrael in it, they could have done that thing where he's in the back. That could have been a nice Easter egg where he's just in these moments where he's just observing Batman and stuff like that. And then boom, we drop him in there, like how they did it. I think how Arkham City did it and Arkham Knight was really good, where he's like, yo, what is that in the corner? And it was like Batman's Batman in a way. And I think they could have those moments in actual live action or animated stuff. And like seeing that he's not there now, it's just like, what are we doing? We could really use this character. I think this would be a nice story to tell. And hopefully we get that. But I'm happy to be the first one. I'm happy to be right. I'm happy to be the first. Hey, Michael Lane was in this show first. And then they started doing it. I think he watched the performance. Like, so I'm honored to be able to to be the first version of the live action character. Like
That's awesome.
like I'm really looking
Yeah,
forward to
dude.
that.
Yeah.
But
I'm
he
excited.
could definitely be in stuff.
That's fantastic. I agree with you. There could be a lot to do with the character, and as you said, you're going to be, the first to do it. So somebody's always going to be first, and I'm happy to see that it's you.
Thank you.
With that being said, guys, it is time to close the file on part 1 of Michael Lane, aka Azrael. And we will reopen the file in a couple of weeks, and we will get into more delve into the life of Michael Lane and what drove him into the vigilante that he becomes. What keeps him going. So with that, on behalf of Detective Rand and Detective Marshall over there, we're borrowing from Metropolis. I want to say the detectives of Gotham are always patrolling the streets. We're always watching. Whether you're a vigilante or a villain, we're going to catch you one day. Keep an eye out.